I prefer Roberts to Hanania, Chris Rufo, and the rest of this new generation of pundits who imagine that a new oligarchy can displace an old oligarchy. Roberts at least knows he's a grifter, or at least knows his decisions are purely symbolic. Perhaps he hopes that this symbolism will produce some kind of intellectual leadership around which some new power will coalesce. But he knows he does not have the power to really act. This makes him useless, but at least not dangerous. Richard, are you sincere? Do you believe wokeness can actually be rolled back by this kind of sensible reform? I have trouble deciding whether I prefer a world in which you and your type of respectable public intellectual is clueless or insincere. Whichever world this one is, it is the world we live in. Yes, the reasons why the early alt-right that gave us Richard Host drew so many young and talented people, often to their later sorrow, to its obscure blogs and forums, were partly pathological. They were not entirely pathological. The reasons why the National Socialist German Workers' Party drew so many young and talented people, generally to their later sorrow, to its Nietzschean crooked cross, were also partly pathological. They were not entirely pathological. Once you dismiss them as entirely pathological, you are living within a lie, a box, a false history you can never escape. The cure for lies is never, ever more lies. When you act out as the heel in your enemy's kayfabe narrative, you are doing them far more of a service than if you merely served them. You are, in fact, a cuck. However, when you do merely serve them, or even if you lie and pretend to serve them, or even if you do not serve them but only live and encourage others to live in their little box, you are also a cuck. This is my problem with Richard Hanania. Across his journey from white nationalism to small L liberalism, nothing about Hanania has changed. He is not just cucked. He was always a cuck. He was a cuck then, and he is a cuck now. He sucked then, and he sucks now. He is one of the best young respected public intellectuals working today. He may even be the best. But that says more about now than about him, about our stunted life in this little box. And can he learn and grow and change? Sure. Hasn't he already shown us that? He has. Peace and best wishes, Richard. Never stop thinking. Never stop fighting. Most people who suck only suck because they set the bar too low. Dream a bigger dream. Dream of something marvelous. Dream of something outside the box. When Richard Hanania, who had long since stopped being Richard Host, who had even gotten laid, realized that the combination of his talent and his credentials could be compelling to more than just the readers of Countercurrents, he felt what Bilbo felt when he found the Ring of Gyges. He felt the power to matter. He realized that if his Substack posts were compelling enough, if his foundation got enough media hits, he could even influence policy. He could maybe drive legislation. He might even bend the ear of Paul Ryan. Hanania likes to cite Robert Triver's work on motivated cognition and self-deception. Physician, heal thyself. Motivated cognition is a terrible end for a true philosopher. Especially now, Richard Hanania will never, ever speak to Paul Ryan. Not that Paul Ryan even still matters. Not that as anything like a statesman, as if any such thing existed in our benighted age. Hanania, for all his errors, is far beyond Paul Ryan. But what should a philosopher do? What should a shoemaker do? A shoemaker should make shoes. Fortunately, the world is not run by shoemakers. Shoemakers have never found the ring of power. Shoemakers do not become more important if they can get men to wear long, pointy shoes. So the shoemaker has one job, to make good shoes at a good price. And men's feet do not look like carrots, and they do not trip over their toes. In my view, a philosopher should make philosophy. He should be sincere. He should tell the truth as he sees it. He should not be a troll. He should not be a shill. Trolls are cucks in a backward way. Shills are just cucks. A politician like Paul Ryan does not have opinions. He has positions. A philosopher like Richard Hanania does not have positions. He has opinions. But a respected public intellectual. When I started writing on the internet 15 years ago, I had no audience and no impact. No one cared what I thought, and I liked it that way. All I had was opinions. Now I have an audience, but I still try to just have opinions. I am not a respected public intellectual, and I will never be one, inshallah. And my takes are always sincere. Why else would I be praising Leon Degrelle? Am I being bribed with secret Nazi gold? Yet I do live in the real world. But I have noticed that in the real world, the nominal impact of bending Paul Ryan's ear or whatever, which is the sad currency of the respected public intellectual, is fool's gold. Everyone takes it seriously and pretends it is real. Sometimes, rarely, it is slightly real. Generally, everyone just pretends, and the pyrite vanishes in a bookseller's season. Who reads the respected public intellectuals of the 70s, the 80s, the 90s? No, the philosopher who wants a real impact should be a philosopher. Often he will go entirely unread in his time. Often he will have to wait not until he is discovered, but until he is rediscovered. A prophet has no honor in his own country. But then his impact will not be a trickle, but a tsunami. And his descendants, if their copyright survives, will have the royalty stream of a Marx, a Rand, a Plato. He will be dead, but in his life he will have his honor. Try it, Richard. You really are better than this.